You are in direct violation of Covenant 3, Article 4. I demand this monstrosity be removed by Friday.
The court disagrees, Karen. Case dismissed.
The sound of grinding woke me up before the sun did, this low metal growl under my window and the sharp smell of fresh asphalt rolling into my bedroom like smoke. I stepped outside into the cold morning air and there they were, 2 trucks with flashing amber lights, a cement mixer roaring, and 4 guys in neon vests pouring concrete right across the mouth of my driveway. By 7:03 a.m. they had already built a gray wall of wet sludge that was about 6 feet thick from the street up onto my property, a hard lip that would trap my car in like a cage. I yelled over the machines, asked who ordered this. One worker shrugged and pointed across the cul-de-sac at her. Karen. Pink floral robe, steaming mug of coffee, phone out like she was filming a show, not my life. Here is the wild part. The job she ordered looked exactly like a speed bump, but in the wrong spot, on the wrong land. On my land. I walked over, still in my t-shirt and sandals, and asked what she thought she was doing. She took a slow sip and said, calm as ice, just bringing your driveway up to community standard. She smiled and added, if you touch it, the HOA will fine you. That is when I knew this wasn't about safety. This was about control. Karen paved a 6-foot lip onto my driveway. Too bad I am the judge, I thought, but right then I was just another homeowner being steamrolled. I emailed the board at 9:00 a.m., sent photos, even offered to pay for a normal fix. No answer. Curtains twitched all day. Neighbors messaged me in secret, but nobody would speak up in public. The next week, I went to the HOA board meeting in the clubhouse, the one with the weak coffee and folding chairs that wobble. I waited through 40 minutes of talk about mulch colors and mailbox paint until open comments. I stood, explained the lip, the property line, the way my bumper scraped every time I tried to back out. Karen, of course, sat at the center of the table with the little wooden gavel like she was queen. She cut me off mid-sentence. Driveway improvement approved last month, she said. Issue closed. If you alter it, you'll be fined $200 a day. The other board members stared at their papers like the ink was suddenly very interesting. I walked home under the orange parking lot lights, furious and shaking, but clear on one thing. I would not touch that concrete. I would not yell. I would go through proper channels and use every one of them. I drew my line in the sand at the kitchen table that night. If she wanted a paper war, I would bring a whole forest. I started with my own skills. Yes, I am a judge, but that meant I had to be extra careful. I promised myself I would not use my title, only my knowledge. I pulled my deed from the safe, printed the subdivision plat, and measured the exact line where my property ended. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. Then I went downtown. At City Hall, the permit clerk pulled the file for our HOA. When the folder hit the counter, the file landed with 63 pages. No permit for any bump on my driveway. No easement. Nothing. One line in the local code jumped out so simple a kid could read it. Blocking another owner's driveway is illegal, even if you are the HOA president. I smiled for the first time that week. The next move was all about pattern. Karen loved calling the police. I knew because I had seen squad cars roll in for silly things. I ordered incident reports. When they came back, I made a neat list on a yellow pad. Timeline item 1 April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call on my teenage neighbor walking his own dog. Then more. Noise complaint over a birthday party at 6:15 p.m. that ended at quiet hours. A report claiming I had damaged HOA property when I gingerly drove over the new lip one night. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. That law line matters. I filed my own police statement, calm and detailed. I filed a code complaint with the city, attaching photos of my trapped car and the measuring tape showing the lip pushing 6 feet onto my land. I even sent the HOA management company a certified letter on May 3, 2024, laying out the violations in 8 numbered points. The payoff came 2 weeks later at a special meeting Karen called to address community unrest, which is short for people getting mad in the group chat. The clubhouse was packed. Folks who never came to meetings showed up with popcorn. Phones were already in people's hands. I sat in the front row with my binder on my lap. Karen started with her usual speech about order and respect. Then the city inspector walked in, vest and clipboard, right behind the HOA's own attorney, who looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. The inspector asked to speak first. He pulled out a photo of my driveway from his file and turned to the room. "This structure is an unpermitted obstruction on private property," he said. "It must be removed within 10 days or the association will face fines of $340 per day." A low rolled through the room. Karen tried to argue, but the attorney slid her a note that drained the color from her face. And then came the video. My neighbor Sam stood up, holding a small tablet. "I have security footage," he said. The screen showed Karen on my driveway at 6:52 a.m., waving the crew onto my property while I stood in the doorway shaking my head no. You could see her tracing the line with her foot, far past the sidewalk. Someone in the back gasped. Someone else laughed. The phones came up, recording the screen and her at the same time, catching every flinch. Comments flew in real time in the neighborhood chat. "So that's community standard?" The board whispered, then went into a quick closed session. When they came back, the HOA vice president, not Karen, read the decision. The association would pay to remove the lip, restore my driveway, and reimburse every homeowner the special assessment Karen had pushed through to fund her pet projects. Here is the part one did not expect. The police chief, who had gotten my careful packet, opened an internal review of all Karen's calls. The HOA management company reported her pattern to their own oversight council. Within a month, she was removed as president, barred from holding any board seat for 5 years, and issued a formal warning about filing false reports. She also had to sit there while the treasurer cut refund checks of $500 to 8 families at the next meeting. I did not rule on any of it. I stayed in my seat like every other neighbor, just a guy who wanted to get out of his driveway. The morning they tore up the lip, I stood in my robe with a mug of coffee that actually tasted good, breathing in the clean smell of wet concrete being hauled away. Kids rode their bikes past my house again. Sam walked over with a spare donut and said, softly, "Glad you knew how to fight this without shouting." I just smiled, watched the last chunk of the lip fall into the truck, and thought about how quiet justice can still be loud online. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.